the first thing I really want to talk about with you is being an orbiter, because it's actually something I don't want to be, but uh, I don't know if you have the choice. Like, I don't know if it's choice. So yeah, what would you say? What is an orbiter to you?
So I'd say an orbiter is somebody who depends on a larger streamer for their content. And so I feel like it's kind of a title that gets like thrust upon you. Like I mean you could set out with the goal to become an orbiter. And then I guess you just would be as well. But if you don't want to be an orbiter, then I would say that you would just have to make like organic content. Um like you could make content about another like about another streamer or something like that. But if you suck on it too long, you're probably going to get associated with them pretty strongly. So I think it's going to be a lot about people's perceptions. If like when people hear Mr. Girl, or if people see like take the Mr. Girl has on Twitter a lot, instead of messaging him, they'll message me because like I'm the
Mm-hmm.
more accessible person to
Mm-hmm.
interact with that thing that he did. It's a lot easier to reach out to me and talk to me about it than it is to reach out and talk to Mr. Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so like the big JC, I just talked to him the other day. He saw something in Mr. Girls and he said immediately I thought of you. And I just wanted to I wanted to ask you about this. Oh no, actually it was Leader. Leader seen something from Mr. Girl and he like got a hold of me right away. So I think that's probably like a pretty good example of like what it functionally is to be an orbiter.
Mm-hmm.
I never really cared. I really like talking about Mr. Girl shit, so like I'm
Mm-hmm.
always happy for that. But if you don't
Yeah.
want to, then just if you just doing your own thing, you shouldn't get pegged as one.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think is in it for? Because I think to some extent it's something that is being done by, like, this activity of being an orbiter is being done by both parties, by both the streamer and the orbiter. So, I mean, the orbiter is also a streamer, but I'll just call it, for simplicity's sake, I will just say streamer and orbiter. Um, what's in it? I mean, for the orbiter, I guess you get way more attention, both in views and in also like the way you described it like a few minutes ago. Um, but what's in it for the streamer? I feel like it's, yeah, I don't really see what's in it for the streamer.
It depends on the streamer, right? So for Destiny, which is probably the best example of a streamer with orbiters, he has people that will provide him with content. Destiny can just sit there and play a game and just sort of talk or like watch videos. And then eventually, because he has so many orbiters, somebody's going to pop by and want to talk. And therefore, he has done absolutely no work. And yet, content has been brought to him. This
Mm-hmm.
is invaluable to somebody like Destiny who streams as
Mm-hmm.
often as he does. Um, he just it's like no effort, like content just makes itself at that point. He has like an orbiter machine. Now for somebody like Mr. Girl, who that's not the type of relationship he has with his orbiters. I think the benefit for somebody like him is um did you see when he was fighting with Destiny about the subreddit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of the points that he made was that I'm a controversial person who says, or I make content and I say controversial things. So what I need in order to grow is I need smart people uh, engaging with people about what I say, saying like, well, he didn't actually mean this is what he actually was talking about, and having these kinds of conversations. So I think that myself in particular, um, uh, like before Smith or anybody was associated with him, really, I was the one going to larger creators and arguing on Mr. Girl's behalf. Like, no, you're just fucking wrong. Like, you're saying all this shit about him, but like, that's not even what's being said here. Or like, you're misrepresenting. Or like, when I talk to people about the doll review, people had a very one-sided view of that, and I think that I was probably like the only person really arguing with anybody about this like super negative perspective that was broadly being held about the doll review.
Mm-hmm. So you're like,
So I would like to think that I brought some clarity to a pretty complicated video.
mm-hmm. So you're also involved. I saw that with Destiny also, like, orbiters being involved in like a PR war, basically, like fighting the PR war with the streamer in case of
Sure. Yeah.
controversy and shitstorms.
Yeah, I think when it's Destiny, this takes on a bit more of a like the white blood cell analogy. Like if
Mm-hmm.
somebody goes after Destiny or something really bad's happening, you have kind of like the white blood cell thing. People are like, oh, here's the problem. We're just going to attack it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas uh, Mr. Girl, I think that like myself and Smith, we're probably just going to talk to people about it. We don't feel like we have to attack anybody. But we do, we're gonna be personally frustrated that like a thing that we thought a lot about and care about is being misunderstood. Like if there's a video or something and we really liked it, we're gonna argue our stance on it. So I think there's varying degrees of which like the PR can be helped by orbiters, but like there's definitely like if you're an orbiter of a larger streamer, that's kind of like your time to shine, right?
Yeah, yeah. You use the time where you can show your loyalty and also show that you have understood the character of the person. I feel like that would be more valuable to someone like Mr. Girl, I guess.
Yeah, well, and I think that showing your loyalty is probably a lot more valuable if you're an orbiter of Destiny.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if because like I think that what's valued in these like Mr. Girl and Destiny is just sort of like it's sort of like a dichotomy of what's valued, right? I think that the things that Mr. Girl might appreciate that Smith and I do would be really different. I don't think he cares so much about the loyalty aspect, but he cares about the kind of engagement that we're helping giving his points. I think he just cares more about his message being understood. And if we can help with that, then that's probably going to be something that's silently appreciated. But for Destiny, I think he really values people sort of jumping in front of the bullets for him. If you do that,
Mm-hmm.
I think that you're going to be seen as more valuable.
Do you think the way Destiny sees it is like the general way it is, or is he more particular? Like not in a
It's kind of tough.
maybe he's more, but I'm asking, is he like a different category of streamer, or is it just a little bit more with him? Or would you say it's like something that is like generally that's how it is in the streamer sphere?
It's kind of hard to say because you have take like the next step up from Destiny would be like Hassan, and Hassan
Mm-hmm.
doesn't interact with his orbiters at all.
Mm-hmm.
They just sort of they're sort of it's just sort of like a mutually beneficial relationship that's like exclusive from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Destiny has a very like mutually interactive relationship with his orbiters. Like they're getting something like it's like they're it is kind of like a employer employee relationship in that they bring content to him. So like they bring him the pie and in exchange they get a little slice of that pie.
Mm-hmm.
And then Destiny gets to eat everything that they don't have. Whereas if you're somebody like Hassan, Hassan just sort of providing all the ingredients, and anybody who wants to be a Hassan orbiter can sort of make their own pie. That's going to be a lot smaller than the one that Hassan's made. They watch how he makes it. They make their own little pie, and they get to have that all to themselves. And it really doesn't affect what he has going on.
So he's basically
I
the least bossy. Like he's not a boss at all, actually, then, right? Somehow, because he has no.
he does nothing to help them, but if he wanted to, he could seriously hurt them. I think as well.
But I
Because if
guess
you're a
he.
fan of his orbiters, you're probably a bigger fan of Hassan.
Mm-hmm.
So if Hassan were to say like, "Hey, fuck this guy," then I think it's probably over for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Why?
but I don't know if that would work with Mr. Girl and Mir Smith. I think if Mr. Girl said something negative about Mir Smith, it wouldn't impact us in that sort of way. It would hurt our feelings.
What? Why? I I agree that the relationship can be like boss and employee, but I don't get why. I mean, if I want to have a boss, I can just go get a job, right? Like, why would you?
So what's easier? Is it easier to start your own company or is it easier to find an employer?
Yeah, yeah. Of course, it's easier to to find an employer, but if I wanted to have the easy route, I would never like go for this. You know, like
Yeah.
some niche, like, what we do is pretty niche. I mean, it's not something that is like, it's not very promising in any way. So if I wanted like something safe or something, yeah, I wouldn't do this. So I'm wondering how, like, when I look, especially when I look at like Destiny's Orbiters, I'm like, wow, like you escaped escaped the normal regular job and you traded it for a pseudo free job, but it's actually you just traded it for another job. Like, well,
A much weirder job.
yeah, and you have all the risk, like, and all the insecurities of the streamer sphere, but the way you're working is just like a 9 to 5. And like just the fact that when they that they have to stop streaming when the main streamer, when the big guy is on, like they have to stop streaming because they basically have no viewers at that time, is like it would hurt my ego. Like, and isn't like your ego also part of why you do this, like, when you're really honest?
Um, yeah, I would have thought less so before, but since I've had a lot more engagement, it does motivate me to stream more. But for I guess it's kind of tough. So like I know that there's a component to it, but the way that I internally think about it is that I'm motivated to stream more because the stuff that I'm doing, it's like I get motivated a lot because I have only a couple people in real life that I can talk to about any of this shit, and I'm really invested in it. So it's just really nice to be able to talk to other people about the things that I'm interested in. And so when I'm streaming, it's like having the homies over. Like if there's like a new episode of a show that I'm watching and like a bunch of my buddies like it too, we all watch it together. That's like a really cool feeling. Afterwards, we're all gonna talk about it. We're all gonna hype each other up about what we just watched. Sort of that kind of feeling. I get a really similar feeling as to when I stream. It is different, but that's sort of like that's the closest, like, emotion that I can relate it to.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're somebody that, like, this is my 9 to 5 job, and as soon as, the bigger streamer goes live, you watch everybody just empty out, um, you I think it's gonna be really hard to not, in that moment, go like, "Yep," 'cause that's what this is. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's not really about me, it's about this other person, and it becomes super clear at that point. So I think that, yeah, you are probably, you're hurting yourself. I think it's important to not tie your self-worth too much to the numbers. If you're streaming because you're streaming things that you really like to do and you're not streaming for money, then I think you're going to be able to have fun no matter what. But when you start to make this, which is essentially a creative thing, right?
Yeah.
Uh, e- Even if it's not like a super original thing that you're doing, it's still a creative outlet. And if you're tying that to your finances, when you're not making a lot of money, you're going to start to feel bad about yourself creatively, which I think is sort of a trap. But if you're making the thing because if you're doing this because it's what you want to do, and then you get money as a result of that, um, as long as you don't switch those priorities, I think that it's really hard to let it like get you down.